In this video, we will be graphing a system of three linear inequalities. So our first problem, graph the solution to the following system of inequalities. So we've got this negative 2x plus 5y is less than negative 15. We've got x is less than 3 and y is greater than or equal to negative 8. Now remember that if it just has the less than or greater than sign, we're going to have a dotted line on our graph down here. And if it's got this equal to sign underneath, that will be a solid line. Okay. Also recall that this is going to be linear right here. It is of the form ax plus by equals c. Okay. So that is linear. So we're going to treat it as such, which means that we can just get 2 points, plug in an x, get a y, plug in an x, get a y, and then put those on the graph and connect those points, and that will be our line. Okay, so let's start with that one. Negative 2x. Let's choose an x. I'm going to choose 0 for x. So if I choose x equals 0 for this system, that would be negative 2 times a 0, what I'm going to put there, plus 5y is less than, and I'm just going to say equal to because I'm just trying to get points here. So equal to negative 15, which means this goes away, and we get 5y is equal to negative 15. Okay, and if we divide both sides by the 5, we get the corresponding y value of negative 3. So y is equal to negative 3. So that is our first point, and I'll write it here, 0. We plugged in a 0 for x, and we got negative 3 out for y. So I can go to 0 on the x and negative 3 on the y, and I can put a point there. Okay, so there it is. Let's try another one. Let's just use, what's another good one? Let's say x equals 5. So let's try x equals 5. So if I use x equals 5 and find the corresponding y value, that'd be negative 2. Here's my parentheses where I'm going to put that 5. Plus 5y is equal to negative 15. Okay, put that 5 here. Okay, so that will end up being negative 10 plus 5y equals negative 15. And now I need to get the y by itself, so I add the 10 over here. And that gives me 5y is equal to negative 5. And if I divide both sides by 5, I get the corresponding y value that goes with the x value. And that is y is equal to negative 1. So I get the point 5 for x, negative 1 for y. So I go to 5 on the x-axis. Here we go. And then negative 1 for y. Okay. So there's 2 points. And since I know this is linear, I can now draw the graph. Keep in mind this is going to be a dotted line because there's no line underneath. So let me graph that really quick. Okay, there's the graph of that. All right, now I'm going to graph the other two. So I have x is less than 3. So this is going to be a vertical line that goes through 3. So right here on the x-axis 3, and this is also going to be a dotted line. So let's graph that. Okay, there's that. And now we have one more, y greater than or equal to negative 8. So that's going to be a solid line that's going to go through negative 8 on the y-axis, which is right here. So I'm going to put a solid line that's going horizontal. So let's graph that. Okay, there's that one. Okay, so I'm going to label these really quick. This is x is less than 3. So this is the line. So less than means left of it. So this says I need to shade left over here. And this line right here is y is greater than or equal to negative 8. Greater than, this line means above it. So left of the dotted line, above this line. And then this is negative 2x plus 5y is less than negative 15, and less than means below. So below this line, above this line, and left of this line. So we get this region right here as our solution set. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so this one has negative 3x plus 4y is less than or equal to negative 12. That'll be a solid line, and this will be linear. And x is greater than or equal to 3, also a solid line. And y is greater than negative 7. That'd be a dotted line. Okay, so let's do the same thing we did last time. I'm going to plug in some points. So let's try x equals 0. That's always a good one to try. So negative 3 times 0 plus 4y is less than or equal to negative 12. Of course, there's my 0, which cancels out that term. So, and I should have just wrote an equal to sign. I did last time. Let's keep doing that. So to be 4y is equal to negative 12. If I divide both sides by 4, I get y is equal to negative 3. So that's the point, 0, negative 3. So I go down here to the graph, 0 and negative 3, and I put a point. Okay, let's try another one. Let's see, what should we try? Let's try x equals 4 for this one. So x equals 4 is what I'm going to try. So negative 3, there's where I'll put my 4, plus 4y is equal to negative 12. Okay, there is the 4. Okay, so that's going to be negative 12 plus 4y is equal to negative 12. Now, if I add the 12 here, it'll cancel, but look at this, it'll also cancel over here, so that will turn into a 0. So you get 4y is equal to 0, and of course, if you divide both sides by 4, it's still 0. Okay, so y equals 0, so our point is 4 comma 0. Okay, so I go to 4 on the x-axis, and 0 means not up, not down, so right on the x-axis. This is going to be a solid line because it has a less than or equal to underneath it, so let me graph that really quick. Okay, there's that line. Now let's do x is greater than or equal to 3. It's also going to be a solid line, and it's going to go through the point x equals 3 up and down. So let me graph that one. Okay, there's that graph, and I've labeled both of these. And let's do the final one. Y is greater than negative 7. It'll be a dotted line, and it will go through the y, negative 7. So it'll go through right here, and it'll go left and right. So it'll be a horizontal line. Let's graph that, and it'll be dotted. Okay, there's that line. So I have all three of them now labeled. So here's the dotted line. It says y is greater than negative 7. So that means above this line, all right? This says greater than 3. So greater than this line would be to the right. So above this line and to the right of this line. So that's this region. But what about this one? This says it needs to be less than or equal to negative 12. So below. So below this line, right of this line, and above that line means this is the region that I'm graphing. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, on this one I have 7x plus 4y is greater than 36. That's going to be a dotted line. And I've also got x is greater than or equal to 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. So this time I'm going to graph these two first. X is greater than or equal to 0 is a solid line, and it goes through x equals 0, and it goes vertical. So it's going to go through x equals 0, which is here, and it goes vertical. Okay, so let me do a solid line there. Okay, there's that line. Okay, and then the next one, let's do y greater than or equal to 0. So again, it goes through 0. It'll be a solid line, and it'll go left and right. So let's graph that. Okay, there's that. So we have x is greater than or equal to 0, which means to the right. Greater than 0 is to the right, and y greater than or equal to 0 is up. So we know we're here in this little box, this quadrant, but our 7x plus 4y greater than 36 is going to determine how this final graph looks like. So let's plug in some points. I'm going to use 0 for x again, just like I did in the first two. Okay, so that is 7 times 0 plus 4y greater than 36. That goes away, so 4y is greater than 36. I should have said equal to. I did that again. That's all right. It doesn't really matter. Divide both sides by 4, and it'll be y is equal to 9. So these should have been equals. Whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. So 0 for x and 9 for y. So I can put that point. 0 for x and 9 for y is right here. Okay. And now let's try another one. What's another one I should try? Let's try x equals 4. I think that'll work out nicely. So, oh, I said 0. Just full of mistakes on this one. What I meant was x equals 4. Okay, so I'm going to plug that in. So 7 times 4 plus 4y. This time I'll actually use an equal sign. There we go. 7 times 4 is 28 plus 4y is equal to 36. if I subtract the 28 from both sides, I get 4y is equal to 8. And if I divide by 4, I get y is equal to 2. So the corresponding point when I plug in a 4, I get a 2 out for y. So 4 comma 2 is here. And remember, that's going to be a dotted line. It'll go through these 2 points. So let me graph that really quick. Okay, here we go. Here's the dotted line that goes through those 2 points. And let's see, this one says 7x plus 4y is greater than 36. So greater than, I'm going to graph above. So above this line is here. Remember, I also have to be above this line, y equals 0, and right of this line. So I'm in this box right here. I have to be in this box, but I can't color in this little triangle because it's got to be above this line. Okay, so I can't go over here into outside of the first quadrant. I can't go below this dotted line. I can't go below this solid line. So there is what my graph looks like. And that is my solution set. All right, there's going to be one more problem. Okay, so for this one we have y greater than -7. That'll be a dotted line. We have y less than -4x minus 5, also a dotted line, and that's linear. And y less than or equal to 4x plus 4, solid line, also linear. Okay, so for these we have mx plus b. For both of those, so we have a slope, which is the number in front of x. They're not written in fractions, but remember you can put a line and put a 1 underneath to make it rise over run. And these are our y-intercepts, so these will be a little easier to graph. Okay, so let's start with this one. Dotted line, and it goes through y equals -7. Y equals -7 is right here. And I'm going to put a dotted line. It goes left and right there, so let me graph that. Okay, here's the dotted line that goes through -7 on the y, and it's greater than, so it'll be above that line. Okay, let's go back up into these. So for the second one, I'll call this 1, 2, and 3. Keep ordered. So for the second one, for number 2, we've got a slope. I'll call it m is -4. So that could be a -4 over 1. Could also be written as 4 over -1. Okay, and it's got a y-intercept of -5. Okay, for 3, we've got a slope of 4, put it over 1, okay, or it could be -4 over -1 if you wanted to write it that way. Okay, and this one has a y-intercept of 4. Okay, so let's graph both of those. Number 2 first. Okay, so I go to -5 on the y-axis. That is here. Okay, and keep in mind this is going to be a dotted line because there's no line underneath, dotted line. Use my slope. So down 4, right 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1, or I could use up 4, left 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, left 1. Okay, and I'm going to graph a dotted line that connects those 3 dots. Okay, there's that dotted line, and I labeled it here. So y is less than -4x minus 5, which means below. So above this dotted line, below that dotted line. Let's see what the third graph looks like. So we've got a y-intercept of 4 this time. So I go to 4. Put a dot. Keep in mind this is going to be a solid line because of this equal to. Okay, and then I use my slope to either go up 4, right 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1, or I could go use this slope to go down 4, left 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, left 1. And I'm going to create a solid line that goes through those 3 points. Okay, here's the solid line, and this says y is less than or equal to 4x plus 4, so below this line. Also, y is less than -4x minus 5, so below this dotted line, so below both of these, and above this one because it's greater than -7. So my shaded area in my solution set is this little triangle right here. And that's it.